Keys and Gray, Neville and Carragher, Murphy and Shearer, got nothing on these boys. Adi Klaus, Candy Man, talking 7v7 format right here, right now. Let's watch it. Welcome to Highlight Roots. We've got a bit of a different show here today. I've got two coaches that are about to go into under-9s football, which is 7v7 format. We thought we'd do a show today on that format and how the changes of five-a-side going into seven-a-side. Is that right, boys? You're going into seven-a-side, Adi?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same as? Cool. So I did this a couple of years ago. My team are now playing, my grassroots team are now playing 9v9, not 11. So we had 2 seasons of 7v7. Unlike you boys, I didn't do 5v5, but I got straight into it. And today, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about formations, about your philosophy. Is your philosophy of football coming in already now at this stage in this format? Maybe the introduction of teaching your players how to press rather than just chase the football around all over the place. What type of structure you guys have on your teams, and different positions for players. Will you look at swapping players around in positions? Maybe a guy who thinks he's a striker, you might try him somewhere else. Okay, so we'll just go through this a little bit, have a little bit of a chat about football. Obviously, social distancing, lockdown, and again, we can't all get together in a nice coffee shop and record this, so Zoom chat. Right, quick introductions on teams. Adi, we'll start with you. Introduce yourself and your team.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name's Adi Klaus. I look after under-8s going into under-9s, local team in the Derbyshire Junior Football League. Been coaching about 3 years now. Love it. Passionate about coaching. But that brings its highs and its lows. I've had some great times in football. Some days I love it and some days I absolutely hate it. A bit of context about our team. I coach a team a bit lower down the leagues in Derbyshire Junior Football League, so I was with a team that was a bit higher up the leagues. Didn't find it a great experience. I found like we were making a lot of decisions around winning, not around development. Got really frustrated for me and my lad, and actually moved my lad probably this season, the start of this season, to a new team, which was a big thing for both him, my pride in some ways, and also like him in terms of, you're always brought up to think, right, play with good players and it'll make you a better player, but I wasn't finding that. It was upsetting his confidence and it wasn't good all round. So we moved to the same club but a different team, and absolutely loving it now in the lower leagues of the Derbyshire Junior Football League. We've got about 11 players, absolutely tremendous group of lads, and loving the experience of it, and the kind of what I'm getting out of it is a lot in terms of their development. The reward back from this team has been tremendous. Yeah, so very new to it. Been coaching about 3 years in total, but love it.
Brilliant, nice one, Adi. If you go in, Candy, introduce yourself and your team.
Yes, Candy here. Been on the show before, a couple of times with Mark. So I coach in Leicester at G&G FC. As Mark mentioned, I've got 2 teams, under 16s and under 8s. So obviously this video is going to mainly focus on the under 8s. I've been with them now for 3 years to start at under 6, went with under 7s and under 8s. And yeah, I like 80, love coaching, love the development side of it, which our club focus on a lot. So yeah, I'm looking to get back when this lockdown is over.
Sure, it won't be long now, boys. I'm sure we can get some sort of training going on. It's good enough for the professionals. I'm sure we can get some social distancing training on a pitch somewhere. Right, let's get straight into it then. So when I first started with the 7v7 format, I didn't think about formations a lot, but I got straight into it after a few weeks of realising that lads and girls were wanting to learn a little bit, and they were thinking, I'll play striker, I'll play winger. And we decided very quickly that a lot of teams were playing like, let me think about it if I remember, they were playing like a 3-2-1 or a 3-3, and then like just having that midfield as a striker as well. Or they were playing a 2-3-1, but they had some kind of structure and some kind of formation. And what I wanted to do straight away was to sort of teach the boys to play straight down the middle. So we literally went for a 2-2-2. And it was a really, really odd one because we came up against teams that weren't expecting it. And the whole idea of that, and I take that into my 11v11, is when we've not got possession, when we're out of possession, I taught the boys straight away, as soon as there was a goal kick, because obviously you've still got your retreat line, as soon as there's a goal kick, just squeeze yourselves in and get really tight. And that's my whole philosophy. So Have you boys thought about any formations that you might go from 5-a-side into 7v7, or are you just going to play it out and see how you get on? Candy, what do you think about the formation situation?
So we did actually start preparing for 7v7 just before lockdown entered. We played one 7v7 friendly, and in that game I went with a 2-3-1 formation, which I'm looking at going into for 7v7. I think you've got to have a formation and some sort of structure, but allow them to play with freedom. Because otherwise, if you say to them, just go out and play, they're going to play like headless chickens. Like, you need to introduce that sort of positional play, but allow them to play with freedom. Like, don't just say, oh, defender, you got to stay behind that, you got to stay in that certain area. Allow them to, on the ball, can you go support the attack? Where can you be an option and stuff? But the main focus will always be on the principles of play. So regardless of any formation I play, so I've written down 3 formations there: 2-3-1, a 2-2-2, like you said, 2-2-2, and another formation which I might give a go will be a 1-2 and a 3. So 1 defender, 2 midfielders, 3 attackers. Because like in 5-a-side, I played a very attacking formation with 1 defender, 3 attackers, and like you said, with the pressing from the retreat line. With 5-a-side, and I know we'll probably get onto this a bit in later with the pressing, but in 5-a-side, we found a really good way of pressing the opponents from the goal kick, and it was literally like 2 wingers go press and the striker covers. And when we started doing that from January onwards, teams barely got out of their own half. So I'm going to look to introduce something similar, because like that way they understand the game better and they know roles and stuff, which you're going to need as you progress to 9v9 and 11v11.
Okay, cool. Adi, I know you're very much in the the cognitive stage of learning for your players, and like you mentioned before, that you're quite low down in the leagues and what have you, and obviously the target is to build up and progress these players and develop these players. So you've mentioned to me before off camera that your formations and your structure aren't the first thing, your main priority at this moment in time. So what's your thoughts on this then?
Yeah, no, that's true, Mark. So I'm definitely at the school developing players, not developing formations at the minute for me. And maybe it's because the boys have got a mix of something. So, the way I'm at, and I'm saying this is a massive positive, the boys don't live and breathe football. So it's not like they're hungry for knowing that. And so even during this lockdown, we're starting very soon some online live coaching sessions, just to keep them doing the ball mastery and doing little bits really. And I'm thinking much more about that than formations. But since we've had the conversation, Mark, what we did at under 5, what I always found is it's easy for us to talk about formations, but the kids have got to understand the formations and why they're in the thing. So we did some really simple stuff last year at 5-a-side, where we just either played a square or a diamond effectively. And we talked to them about it in shapes. I don't think some of the boys get the context of the 2-3-1 or 1-2, or I don't really want them to at this stage, to be honest with you. So I'd say we're playing a square. When we get it, the keeper gets it, 2 at the side, two kind of up the line, and if it goes to the right hand side, the left hand defender would come across to the centre and cover it in case there was any break or we'd lose the ball. So even when talking about formations now, as much as I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, what shapes can I explain to the kids so they'll know where to stand at any given time? So in that context, really, I was thinking about, similar to, I think, Kandeep saying, I was looking at a 2-3-1 to start with. Now, again, as much as I can say a formation, I'm trying to fit what lads we've got into them formations, because, again, I need the right players to do certain roles in that. What I find still in mine is that none of them really fancy playing in defence. You've maybe got one lad who was happy to stay back there, but the rest of them don't really want to play defence. It's all about getting forward and scoring goals. So I'm trying to think how much defensive cover can I have, but still give lots of attacking opportunity. And last year we did that. We tried to press high. We try and play a high press anyway from the kick-off. I could talk about it later, but we have something called press points in our game. That's how we kind of measure success. Go, how many times did we win the ball back in 5 seconds? And we talk in that sort of language, really, rather than the wingers go here and such and such. I'm trying to make it relevant to 8-year-old lads that are there, mainly for the enjoyment of the game, really.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. That's quality, because it gets a perspective of different type of coaches and what they're thinking going into this sort of format. It was weird because I was just, as you were talking, Eddie, I was thinking to myself, I wish I'd got someone on it who's coming towards the end of the 7v7 and about to go into 9v9, but hello, I've done that myself.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me, so I can do that. One of the big things I worked out really early on is when the age that you guys have got, and I've spoke about this in other shows, and I've spoke about this in other YouTube channels that I've got. And guys, if you want to email me or contact me on Twitter or anything, feel free, because I worked out quickly about a centre line, and I remember one of my coaches speaking to me about this when I was younger. And if you think about penalty spot and the centre spot, you've got a centre line right down the middle of the pitch. And if you've got two defenders, what I'm going to think about? If you've got two defenders, what tends to happen is at this age they all go like that, which leaves this massive space here. So I used to say to one, don't go past that centre line there. This guy can go, but this guy has to stay on the centre line. Just look at your penalty spot, look at your centre spot, and then you'll work out how far you can go over, and then trust your recovery run, because if you go over, it makes your recovery run a lot harder, basically, because you've got so much more ground to cover. And we worked that out really quickly because obviously you've got no offsides, so we played against teams, especially coming towards the end of the format when we were trying to introduce a little bit of the offside rule, not sort of playing to offsides because there was no rules of offsides, but telling our boys how you will play offsides next season when you go into 9v9. So we played against a team one game, and I think we were like 4-0 down or something stupid because we basically pushed our lads quite high up the pitch, and they left us centre forward on our goalkeeper. So our goalkeeper, in theory, became a centre-half stroke goalkeeper. We drew the game 5-5. I remember it brilliantly because the lads we played to the point where it was all about development for the boys and learning the offside situation. And they were getting mad at me, going, we need to mark him. I said, don't worry about it. Just leave it. No matter how many goals he scores. I want you to learn that when they play these balls next season, he's going to be offside. Now, we ended up playing that team in a pre-season friendly at 9v9, and we spanked them by about 8 goals. We didn't have a clue what the offside was. So basically, your formations, I think you'll develop them as you go along in the 2 years of your 7v7 format. You'll see different styles. And again, AD, I like that as well because I had certain players, particularly my boy, who could only play him really at that time effectively in one position. And I chose a formation where it would help some of my players out, basically, rather than confuse them, So
yeah, I think what you're saying, Mark, is really important. Simple instruction. So last year at five-a-side, my forward wasn't allowed to come back in our half. That was his rule. Do not come back in our half. And our last defender, couldn't go in their half, so to speak. They all move around positions, but it was rules like that. And when I was looking at the seven-a-side this year, because I was looking at the 3-2-1 and what works, etc. But if we did play the 2-3-1, I'd probably say to my attacking midfielder of the three, don't come in our box. Like, just be that man. All he needs is a vision somewhere that he got a rule that he doesn't do that. So when the ball breaks, he'll be there. We'll have an attacker in their half. We'll have an attacking midfielder who's not in our box, who's in that middle zone, and we can sort of build from there. So yeah, it's just translating it to the kids and making sure they know why they're doing something and where, what the reason is. When the ball breaks, when they're on the attack, where should you be, etc. That's what I'll be thinking about.
I think what a lot of coaches tend to forget is the game on a Saturday or Sunday at this age group in this format is really just another 30 or 40 minutes training session.
Yeah.
It's not about a game. It's not about scoring as many goals. It's about them learning what they can and can't do, and what you want from them. Candy, upon the formation, before we move on, you got anything else to add, or are you okay with?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that AD's at a different stage with his team to where I am. Like, he's saying that you got cognitive stage learners, would you say?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so like mine, I wouldn't say they're more like the top, but like they're at that stage now where they can play, they understand different positions, if you know what I mean. So like they can play more than one position comfortably, and they're comfortable with the ball at their feet, and they can start to understand like the principles of the game better. And therefore, when you're talking about formation and stuff, they probably understand like the different roles required for them positions better. So I think it's good to see, obviously, like how it'll be different for different sorts of teams, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, yeah. I know, because your team's quite high up in the rest of the league, isn't it, Candy?
Yeah.
So that's sorry,
and that's a really important point, and that's kind of why I referenced it at the start, really, just because I know where my lads are at and actually what I want to do with them and where the development is and a bit of a long-term plan. But depending where they are, you need to tell them different stuff. I absolutely agree, Candy.
I think just a suggestion, or obviously not a suggestion for like AD, but like for the FA, maybe teams should move up to 7v7 when they feel they're comfortable to, between under 8s and under 9. I don't know if that's possible or not, but like, because if you think about it, if you got cognitive stage learners, they still need them more touches on the ball and stuff. So it may be an idea where like teams at maybe a certain level, they get the option of playing either 5v5 or 7v7. I don't know. It's just a shot.
It happens at 9v9. We've had teams that we've played against this season who have absolutely been too good for this the league that they're playing, too good for the age group, and they want to test themselves and and they want to put themselves in 11-a-side next season when they've got a whole other year of 9v9. The only thing I would say on that is, and AD alluded to the fact that he's got 11 players. Are all 11 players or 14 players ready to make that step, or is there probably, say, 70% of those players who could probably make that step? Will it affect the 30 or 40% that could probably do with another year at 9v9 or 7v7 in your case? I'm not sure they do it at your format. I think the 2 years is a requisite that they say, like you have to do it.
Yeah.
And then you can sort of change once you're in the second year of 9v9. I think that's just off the top of my head.
The streaming versus non-stream is a whole different show, Mark, isn't it?
Yes, mate, absolutely. So, right, let's move on. I'm looking at the fact that each coach as well, when you go through in the UK, when you go through your badges, you do your FA level 1, you do your FA level 2, you move on to your A to B if you want to, and then further and further. But right from the start, from your level 1, they start talking to you a little bit about your coaching philosophy. Especially at level 2, they start picking up on that so much more because they want to know whether you're going to go into your A to B. You've got to have some kind of coaching philosophy in place. Whether you guys have got it written down, whether you've got it on a website, whether you've just got it on a scribbled bit of paper, or whether it's up here, every coach, whether they know it or not, has a philosophy. My question to you boys at this format and this age group is your philosophy coming out into your players now? Bearing in mind, I told you guys at the beginning that I went for a 2-2-2 because I wanted to teach them to get compact out of possession right from the off. Even at 8 or 9 years old, I wanted them to learn. As soon as that goalkeeper gets the ball, get compact, straight down the middle, make that brick wall in front of your goalkeeper and make it difficult. So my philosophy came out straight away. So what about yourself, Adrian? I'm not really bothered about you telling us about your philosophy, but is your philosophy coming out in your coaching already at this age?
Yeah. So without going into the detail of philosophy, it comes from the club, but I've written one for my own team in terms of the way I want to be, or my own coaching philosophy. But it's all about fun and creative environment, skillful players making decisions for himself. Really, that is the heart of what I've got in the philosophy. And my coaching resembles that really in terms of I do a lot of technical stuff. I believe that's the foundation of a player, a good technical platform. I know there's all the four corners, but technically, if I can teach them to be good on the ball, they can play in any position. So we spend a lot of time around that. And I think translating that into a formation sense, they all play different positions. This season, they've all played different positions as well as the goalkeeper coming out. I want them to be good in different positions and be comfortable in any position. I've heard a great phrase over the last couple of weeks: get comfortable being uncomfortable. Get comfortable playing a position you're not normally used to, so then it becomes comfortable. So equal playing time, all different positions is definitely part of my philosophy in terms of the way I set the team up. And I suppose in terms of formation, is conversation. All different formations and where they play on the pitch really is what I believe will develop them in the long term. Not in the short term, maybe it might be harder in the short term, but in the long term will benefit.
Cool. Yeah, because your philosophy for a team, especially I should have mentioned at the beginning that AD's coaching same way as I started coaching because his son started playing football and his son plays for him as well. In fact, I should have also mentioned that AD's producer and cameraman for his son on Eddie 10 kids football coaching, right, Eddie?
That's right, yeah. I'm officially dadmin for my son now, yeah. Mm-hmm. So he's the superstar. Well, he's not the superstar, he makes the videos and comes up with some of the ideas and then we just do it together. It's a bit of fun actually together. It's something that he'll always have. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we'll link to that show, Eddie's and Eddie 10 football coach, kids football coaching. We'll link to that below. So find that afterwards. I would say, Eddie, from what I've seen, your lad has got a better finish than what you ever had, mate, to be honest with you.
That is true. But we do everything, dribbling and scoring and whatever. If I was a coach, if I was a coach coming in at that start and there was something like that I could trap hold of and have some ideas, it's just a useful resource, that's all.
Oh, yeah, it's brilliant, mate, quality. Candy, your philosophy, I know, we go to uni together. We spoke quite a lot about football philosophies, etc. I have no doubt that it's coming out in your under-16s. What about at this age group? Do you see your philosophy coming out of this age group?
Yeah, I do, because like with the philosophy and stuff, you have like your basic principles, which is obviously you want to create an environment where they can enjoy it. Like AD said, make their own decisions, have fun. But like if you look at it from the principles of the game, where like you want your team to be playing possession-based football, pressing, and playing with that high energy, stuff like that. You try and integrate into the younger age groups. Like for example, with the under-8s, obviously I've had to create them. Make them into a pressing team, make them into a team that want the ball, are happy to have the ball, or want to play in between themselves, and we do lots of 2v1s and stuff in training. So it's things like that. But what I've been doing recently during this lockdown, especially since we finished our assignments and stuff, I've been working more on my 11v11 sort of philosophy. And then what I'm going to do is, with that 11v11, work on 9v9, then 7v7, then 5v5 as well. So that what I'm doing now with the 7v7 for next season, the kids will, if I have them for 11v11, they'll already be in a position where they can integrate nicely into 11v11. Because what they've been at 7v7 will link nicely to what they're going to do at 11v11 with the systems, with the principles of play, and like how I want them to play and stuff.
Yeah, it's brilliant, Candy, because one of my questions was, in this sort of little quick chat about football, at what stage do you guys start thinking about the next level? I know we're 2 years away for you boys, but like, will your 2 years, and I'll come to you both separately, will your 2 years at 7v7 be gearing up for 9v9, or will you start thinking about 9v9 sort of, when I say this season, I'm going to talk about 2020-21 season, because obviously we're coming into the new season, the other season's finished. So for this season coming, 2020-21, will you be thinking at all about your next format, or are you just going to literally concentrate on 7v7? What about you, AD, on that?
Yeah, honestly, no, not yet. So I will probably try different 7v7 formations this season. What I did like to do, Candy's kind of got ahead of the game in terms of do a few friendlies, play a 3-2-1, play a 2-1-2-1, see what I've got. Because I think until you try them with the boys, even though you can say I don't think lad A, B or C might do well, until you play them, you'll never know. So I'll do some friendlies early on, and I'll try some different formations as we go. But I'll pretty much, in terms of where formation is in my priority list for the lads at the moment, then once I settle on a formation, because hopefully I will settle on one, then I'll play that out for the rest of the season and then reflect at the end of the year. Yeah,
it's good, because second year will give you an ideal opportunity to introduce different formations, and that development of getting them used to this format, and then the next year sort of like just moving on a little bit and testing them a little bit, testing their brains tactically. Not too much, obviously, because that will just overload them, in my opinion, but especially at the level you've got, Aid. Candy, I know you was thinking to yourself that you'll sort of like move on and look over the next 2 years about the progression to 9v9 and 11v11 and beyond. I also know you've got a bit of an opinion on the way things have worked this last season, with the fact that it came to a close quite early. Because if you're anything like I was, Candy, if I would have been having 7v7 friendlies, and we did have 9v9 friendlies when we were coming to the end of 7v7 before the season even finished. So you've already had a 7v7 friendly, have you, Candy?
Yeah, just one.
Yeah, and I imagine you would have had a few more had the season carried on.
Yeah, I did actually have 2 or 3 more booked in by 27th of May. Yeah, by today would have probably played at least 2 or 3 more if obviously the world was normal.
Yeah, so Candy and I spoke off camera about this situation, with the fact that players at all ages and all levels have missed out on valuable learning time and development time. And Candy, I'll let you take it away with your little point of view on this.
Yes, I personally feel the FA should look at each team repeating the format they played in. So, for example, like 80, instead of us moving to 7v7 for next season, we should repeat the 5v5 season. Same for teams going from 9v9 to 11v11. They should repeat the 9v9 season, because I think they've missed out a lot on their development. And for us, like, when we get back into training, and if the leagues do start in September, we're going to be thrown into 7v7 action. And I personally feel it's unfair on the players, because like they missed out on vital months of development to not allow them to progress to the next stage. That's what I feel the FA should look at repeating formats for next season? I don't know what your thoughts would be on this.
So for me, Candy, I would tend to agree with you in a way, but I would probably go to Christmas. I would probably if it was in your position.
Do like a half a season?
Yeah, I think if I was in your position, look to play 5v5 format until maybe November, December time, and then when Christmas is finished, you do 6 months of or 5 months of 7v7 and then a full year of 7v7. Because you've got to think about the knock-on effect it's going to have. If you're at 9v9 now, at under 12s, and going into under 11s, they'll probably be ready for it, to be perfectly honest with you, most teams. But then there'll be others that aren't. But at your age, because results don't really matter, you could probably say to yourselves, say to your teams that you're coming up against, right, okay, shall we play the first half 5v5 because we missed out on development, and then add 2 players second half? There's all sorts of things you can do. About yourself, AD, on this one, do you disagree, agree? Would you want to carry on with 5v5 for another few months or a season?
I'm personally okay with where we're at. I do get what Candy's saying, and I get that. I think my general view is that everyone's in the same boat with it, and like you say, it's in theory, I know we all hate losing, but it's non-competitive football. To me, we'll get to 7v7. There'll be more players on the pitch. I'll have the same nucleus of the amount of players probably as last year. I probably had a bit too many this year for five-a-side, so I'll have the same nucleus of number of players. There'll be more players getting an opportunity for 7v7 when we start that format next year. So I understand what Candy's saying, but in theory, it's not as important to me and where my boys are in their development. I welcome the opportunity to get more of them on the pitch and having fun, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all about, one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show is because football is all about opinions, and everyone's got different opinions, and I like the fact that we can thrash it out on something like this, just to chit chat about football. But boys, I'm not going to go on for too much longer, but I just want to sort of not wrap it up right now, but any other points that I've not picked up on that you guys wanted to have a quick chat about on 7v7, not particularly about formations or structure. Candy?
I think obviously you asked AD this about when they'll start thinking about 9v9. I think what 7v7 will allow you to do for 9v9 is for players to start experiencing like playing in thirds, if you know what I mean, like defense, midfield, and like attack, you could say. So I think 7v7 will help with that, and especially like you'll probably start forming little individual units. So like if you play with the 2 defenders, we're going to play something similar for 9v9, maybe 3. Well, it depends what you play. Same with the midfielders, same with the attackers. I think with the 9v9, I'd probably start looking at that towards middle of under 10s. I think the main thing with 9v9 is the offside, because there's no retreat rule. So you're gonna have to stop. Well, if you want to play out from the back, you got to be able to play out from the back without a retreat line. So I think what I did actually want to do with the 7v7 was to introduce a sweeper keeper. I wanted to do that, a couple months down the line if we had already started playing 7v7, but I might have to delay that now to maybe under 10 if I still want to do it. So I just think things like that you might want to start doing, introducing that 7v7, so introducing like a sweeper keeper, or maybe even with your 7v7 games, play with the offside rule if you wanted to. That way, players get more interested on the ball and you can start to understand the 9v9 game.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly on the sweeper keeper, I was lucky with my grassroots team. We had one of the best keepers, and we've still got him, one of the best keepers in Derby, to be honest with you, for his age group. And as a shot stopper, he was brilliant, but we kind of developed him straight away into the fact that he could still come out. Don't just stand on your line and save shots. Come out, be brave, play with the ball, clear your lines, etc. And it's really, really helped us when it's gone into 9v9, because he's superb at that as well. So I think that's a big thing you spoke about there, Candy, as well. And also the pitches are a little bit bigger for you now, or they will be, and there's a lot more room for the keepers to manoeuvre and move about, in their box and in their area, and just get them used to the fact that they are footballers. They're not just keepers, they're footballers, especially in this day and age with the goalkeepers, the top goalkeepers at Man City, Liverpool, they all play with their feet. They're all brilliant footballers.
Yeah.
But you, AD, anything before we finish?
Yeah, just a few things I thought about having this conversation. One of it was like the fitness of 7v7. I know it's a bigger pitch, so I'm not going to go out there and do fitness drills or anything like that, as in specifically without them knowing. But I'm thinking about the fitness of players. It's a bigger pitch, the wider pitch. How do we address that? That's one thing to think about in the formation approach. Second bit was, well, as much as it's great setting up a 7-a-side, and I can probably get them all to stand in the right place when we kick off, it's more about that scenario planning of what happens when we lose the ball. What does that shape look like? What happens when we're 1-0 down? What does that shape look like? It's kind of planning the kids for eventualities that when it happens, we go 1-0 down, everyone's like, that's fine, because we've got a plan for 1-0 down. This is what we're going to do. We're going to push to a 3, whatever it may be. So I think sometimes we focus on a set structure that's fine at kind of dead ball situations, but we don't plan for scenarios so the kids know what to do when this happens or that happens. And one of the useful things I was going to say was, as well as kind of complement the formation, we have a 4 Ps of match day, which has been good this year. So 2 Ps in possession, and that's kind of play, whether it's dribble, pass, shoot, make your own mind up, whatever the scenario is. If you've got space, dribble. If you haven't got someone's in a better position, pass. So we have, in possession, we have play or protect. If you can't play the ball, protect the ball. Don't give it away. Get your back into it, dig deep, do that. And then out of possession, we have positions, so people know where to stand when we're out of possession, and press. So, the closest player goes to the ball, etc. You go to your closest player and try and press like that. So we've come up with like a 4 Ps, and it's simple things with kids. They kind of get it. They come off the game sometimes, and we've got beat 3-0, and they'll say, but how many press points did we get? Did we close players down over 50 times? I'll be like, yeah, brilliant. Here's reward, etc. Here's incentive. So I think what's important to us as coaches, and what's nice on a kind of a whiteboard, we have to translate that into children's languages and easy ways for them to understand what we want them to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, your whiteboard is going to be crucial to you for the next few years, that's for sure. And they do love to play about with it as well. Once you're like, there we go. Mate, you're going to need a bigger one than that. Honestly, they'll all be done. Right. Anything else before we wrap up, AD?
No, good. No, thanks. It's really interesting. And I'd love to have a discussion with Candeep and yourself around that whole winning versus development, and where Candeep's at in terms of winning and how important it is. And lots of people, when you're at that end of it, want to win versus, developing kids as well. It's a classic trade-off, and it's a good debate. Yeah,
absolutely. Candeep, I'll come to you in a minute. Just on that, AD, when I first started coaching when my lad got into football, how I've changed is ridiculous. We played together for years. I was a winner. I still am a winner. But I really had arguments with my assistant coach about winning games of football. I really haven't cared about it at all. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the games we've won. We've won leagues, we've won some cup games and what have you. And I've been super proud of our players and super proud of their development. But the development's allowed them to win games. Now, had we lost certain games, I wouldn't be bothered. I've offered to throw games in to referees when I've seen cheating coaches and, giving offsides that weren't offside. I said, if you want to play like that, you can have the win. Take the cup final, go for it. It doesn't bother me. My lads aren't going to learn anything by you cheating. So that's definitely brilliant for another show. I'd love to get on that one. We maybe could get 1 or 2 more coaches on, because I know a couple of guys who, and whether it's right or wrong in our eyes, at this age group, at your age group, under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, 10s, they want to win. And that's their philosophy. That's what they want to do. And, I'm not going to criticise them, because I was that guy a few years ago, until I did a few courses and noticed that my boy wasn't the best footballer in the world, and then you needed developing. So what about yourself, Candeep? You would be interested in doing another show like that?
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
There's a load of shows with me now. You're experienced, aren't you?
Yeah.
Cool. Right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up, because obviously, we don't want this to go on too long. So, AD, Candeep, thank you very much for contributing today. It's been really interesting. I hope you guys out on YouTube have got a lot out of this. And if you've got any comments, leave them below for us. If you want to tweet us or email us or what have you, I will leave the guys links if they want to get in touch with AD or Candeep about certain situations. Feel free to do so. For now, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.